Hello folks. So I just wanted to give you guys an update on what's been going on with my track car and with my car reviews and everything about the channel. So very soon, hopefully in the next couple days, I'm going to have the DIY and review out for the Coney Yellow and ground control coilover system install and it's going to be hopefully pretty informative for you. You can maybe not make the same mistakes that I did, and I can give you a pretty good idea of what these systems are like on the car and how it's changed it on the track and as a daily driver. Okay, so other than that, there's something that I just want to talk about really quickly, I guess a vlog about really quickly. Sometimes it's worth it buying OEM. Okay, so the reason I say that is because normally I buy aftermarket parts, right? I buy performance parts, or I buy, you know, for maintenance and stuff, some aftermarket parts, but there's a few places that you don't want to skimp. I discovered one of those. Off the top of my head, by the way, those places would be the cooling system. Just, if you can, buy OEM or equivalent OEM. Read on E46 Fanatics what people say is good for like the cooling expansion tank or the water pump or those types of things, because those are the things you do not want to fail. You don't want a cheap part. So the part that I had an issue with was a slave cylinder. So for those of you that don't know, the slave cylinder is the actual little hydraulic device that sits in the bell housing of the transmission and pushes the clutch fork to release the clutch. When I did my clutch job, I made the age-old mistake of not telling the person that was helping me to not push the clutch pedal when the slave cylinder is out, and the little pin burst and the whole thing exploded. So I tried to rebuild it, but it was leaking, so I just said whatever, and I went out to the store and I just bought the cheapest slave cylinder that I could find. Big mistake. So over the course of about 3-4 months maybe, I had this juddering when I was pulling away in first gear, and I couldn't disengage the clutch smoothly anymore in second and third gear. I probably researched a million different possibilities. I was worried that it was my new flywheel that maybe had some scarring on it or had some hot spots already. I couldn't figure out, maybe I didn't break in the clutch properly. So as it turns out, what it was, and I had kind of suspected this all the way, but I pushed it at the back of my mind because it was a brand new part. It was the slave cylinder. Okay, so what was happening? This is as best as I can figure it out. What the pressure plate on my UUC unit was strong enough that when I would go to release the clutch, it would actually push back a little bit too much into the slave cylinder, and the slave cylinder wouldn't be able to take that force. So it would kind of start to skip. Okay, so the slave cylinder was essentially being unable to deal with the strength of the pressure plate or engage in the clutch smoothly, and it was essentially the little like pin on it was just going like this back and forth and making the clutch disengage. As the car would heat up, and for some reason heat had something to do with it, it would go as I was pulling away, and it was the most annoying thing in the world. At first I thought maybe I had a rear main seal leak, but I replaced the rear main seal when I did the clutch, so I don't know why, and I thought that was leaking down and maybe putting some oil on the flywheel or something. I thought that I thought maybe my clutch wasn't aligned properly. I thought maybe I didn't torque the bolts properly in the flywheel or the pressure plate. I went through like every possibility in my head, and I even talked to Rob at UUC, and he didn't have anything specific to say. He said it could be clutch hydraulics, but he thought that it was unlikely. Turns out it was clutch hydraulics. So what I did was I very carefully rebuilt my OEM slave cylinder, and I've reinstalled it in the car, and now it's working perfectly. Okay, so I'm gonna have to go buy a new OEM slave cylinder, or maybe a different brand that someone says is just as good, and they can guarantee me that, because I'm not having this issue again, I promise you that. So it basically, the OEM slave cylinder for some reason is more robust, it's better made, that's very, very likely. And now my clutch is engaging smoothly, I can pull away smoothly again, and everything is fine. The other thing that this slave cylinder is doing was, it was burning fluid. So it's brake fluid, in case you didn't know, that comes from the brake reservoir down into the master and the slave cylinder. And it was, when I tried bleeding it like 1,000 times to see if there's any air in it or something, and every single time I bleed it was like this super watery, like burnt black fluid. I have no idea why the slave cylinder was doing this, but there you go. So that's that. So I've got my OEM slave cylinder here, and everything is fine. So I've just done some rear trailing arm bushings, which I'll do a review of soon, and I'll have the review for the ground control coilover system in. And as for my car reviews, I'm having too much fun doing those. I hope you guys are enjoying them, and I'm going to be bringing you lots more of those. That's almost like a totally separate section of my channel. Maybe in a different world I would have divided these into 2 separate channels, but they're together for the time being. So as always, I'm going to continue doing all the E46 BMW, E36 BMW stuff, tuning and modifications. I'm going to go all the way through to making this car as much of a track car as I possibly can without actually destroying it as a daily driver. I'm going to continue with the car reviews as well. So, as I said, if you have any requests for cars, I'll see what I can do. I might be able to get you something. So off the top of my head, here's some potential cars that might be coming in the near future. So I have a F80 M3 that's been tuned quite heavily coming out soon. I've got a Ford Focus RS, I've got a Golf R, I have a Z4M, I've got maybe a Camaro, a bunch of others. Anyway, so the Ford Focus RS and the Golf R will be out in a couple days, maybe even tomorrow if I can get it done tonight. And that's a pretty fun one. It's a comparison. Those cars are mostly stock, so we will see if, you know, maybe I'm better suited to doing tuned reviews or just like a basic car review. I don't know. I guess you'll have to tell me. But I'm pretty excited to show you guys that. So other than that, I don't have much else to say at this point. I'm going to continue doing maintenance and DIYs all the way into the fall and hopefully through the winter, right? But you guys, there's almost 3,000 of you now subscribed to this channel, which is, you know, in the YouTube world, that's not massive, but for me it is. That's amazing. Everything that you guys are saying, the support that you're giving me, that's what keeps me going. That's what made it so that I just put the other day, in case you noticed, on my channel, new video every week. I'm going to try and commit to that, to do at least a new video every week of some kind. Okay? Because I'm having too much fun on this channel. I'm learning tons and tons of stuff. I hope you guys are learning stuff too. And the stuff that you are saying, some people are private messaging me. I've got people emailing me and giving me all these tips and their experiences and talking about their car. And we're just building an awesome community here, right? So I want to keep growing this because we're all kind of working together to mod our cars and to keep them on the road. And I'm just having too much fun with this. So hopefully you guys are too, and I will talk to you soon. By the way, follow me on Instagram because I am going to start committing to Instagramming the things that I'm doing with my car kind of real time, so you don't have to wait for the video to come out. You can kind of see what's coming up next. It's at Reviews with TH, I think. It's on my channel. You can click on the Instagram link. But I'll have pictures of the cars that I'm reviewing as well as, you know, the mods that I'm doing to this car. So this is 8 minutes long is how long I've been talking now, so that's a lot. I bet maybe 10% of you made it all the way to the end. If you did, thank you very much, and I will talk to you soon.